Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, friend. How are you today?
Yeah, good. How about you?
I'm fine too. Alright, my name is Vitri Rayani. So tonight, meeting the material, I will explain its title, administration and management of educational facilities and infrastructure. Alright, I just go ahead. Administration and management of educational facility and infrastructure. Planning and organizing educational facilities and infrastructure. Planning for educational facilities and infrastructure. Planning for educational facility and infrastructure, it is a complex task because it must be integrated with national, regional, and local development plans. This planning is an integrated planning system with the development planning. Jones described the step for planning the procurement of educational equipment in school as follows. 1. Analyzing the educational need of a community and setting program for the future. 2. Conduct a survey to ask school unit to prepare a master plan for a certain period of time. 3. Select the main needs based on the survey result. 4. Develop educational specification for each separate project in the proposed master plan. 5. Design each separate project according to the proposal educational specification. 6. Development or prioritizing bids or contract and extra according to the proposed for description. 7. Complete the building equipment and place it so that it is ready for use. Next, organizing is a step to determine, classify, and regulate various kinds of activity that are shown, such as the proper physical form for an administrative workspace, laboratory room, as well as the determination of one's duty and authority, delegation of authority, and so on in order to achieve goals. Organizing function. The organizing function must be managed in such a way that the implementation of activities can run effectively, efficiently, and productively to achieve the goal that have been set. The organization is carried out three steps, namely 1. Structuring or determining the structure of cooperation as a result of the analysis of the division of labor. 2. Selection and appointment of staff, namely the right person at the right place on the basis on principally and 3. Functionalization, namely the determination of task and function for each person and work unit. The next, enforcement and maintenance of educational facility and infrastructure. Procurement of educational facility and infrastructure is the activity of providing all types of facilities and infrastructure in accordance with the needs in order to access the educational goal that have been previously determined. Three are several alternative ways of procuring school educational facility and infrastructure. Several Alternative way to foster school educational facility and infrastructure are through. First, procurement of facility and infrastructure by being. Two, procurement of educational facility and infrastructure through making your own. Three, procurement of educational facilities and infrastructure through receipt of grant or assistance. Four, fresh procurement of educational facilities and infrastructure through leasing. Five, procurement of educational facilities and infrastructure through loans. Six, procurement of educational facility and infrastructure through resettling. Seven, provision of educational facilities and infrastructure through exchange. Eight, procurement of educational facilities and infrastructure by repairing or reconstruction. Okay, next. Maintenance is an activity to carry out management and argument to that all goods are always in good condition and ready to be used efficiently and effectively. Destination to optimize equipment life. This is very important, especially from a cost aspect, because buying equipment will be much more expensive than maintaining part of the equipment. To ensure the operational readiness of equipment to support smart work, so the optimal results are obtained. To ensure the availability of the necessary equipment through regular check, and to ensure the safety of people or students who ask this tool. The benefit derived from the mention of educational facilities and infrastructure are that if the equipment is well maintained, it will last a long time and there is no need to replace it in a short time. Good maintenance prevent damage and will be more controlled so that avoiding loss is also pleasing to the age and also to its age. Good maintenance also give good work result. As an arrangement of educational facility and infrastructure. The use of educational facility and infrastructure can be interpreted as the use of the infrastructure itself as a step to support the success of educational goals. The Ministry of National Education stated are also principles that must be considered in the use of educational equipment, namely the principle of effective fence and the principle of efficient. There are several things that need to be considered in the use of facility and infrastructure, namely preparation of schedule of the use in infrastructure facility must be avoided from conflicts with us by one group with other. The main activity of the school are the main priority. The time or schedule of us is submit at the beginning of the school year. Assessment of appointment of personnel in accordance with expertise in the field. Scheduling in the as of school facilities and infrastructure between interest intracurricular and extracurricular activities must be clear. Facilities and infrastructure are the main source that requests are meant to be function, safe and attractive for the purpose of the learning process in school. Physically, facilities and infrastructure must ensure hygienic condition and physically can generate interest in learning. Some teaching material to how to organizing educational facilities and infrastructure. One, layout and school building. Two, school furniture arrangement. Things that must be considered in the arrangement of school furniture include a comparison between the floor area and the size of the furniture to be as in the room. B, left right clearance and wall. C, distance from one piece of furniture to another. D, the distance between the front row of furniture taken and the blackboard. E, the distance from the further row of furniture, table and chair to the dividing wall. If the direction facing furniture. G, compatibility and billet. School supplies argument. Supervision, elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure. Definition. Bernabit and Arifin are that management of facility and infrastructure is the entire process of management and utilization of facilities and infrastructure in order to support the achievement of educational goals in an effective and target manner. Manual supervision is an activity to ensure that programs have been running according to the plan to achieve the objectives. Supervision of facilities and infrastructure is a series of activities to observe, measure, compare, examine, and assess the ensure for the management of facility and infrastructure to avoid deviation, issue, and things that are not in accordance with existing provision. B. Planning for supervision and assessment of educational facilities. Planning is intended to think about and determine the purpose of supervision, determine the standard of supervision, who is chair when it is carried out, and how the supervision is carried out. C. Functional of supervision and assessment of educational facilities. The function of provision and assessment of educational infrastructure facilities is to prevent or at least limit the loss or wasted of maintenance costs for facilities and infrastructure whose condition is getting worse, excessive, or damaged and can no longer be asked. The purpose of supervision and assessment of educational facilities and infrastructure. 1. Optimize equipment life. To ensure the operational readiness of the equipment. 3. Guarantee the availability of equipment. 4. Ensure the safety of people or students who use the equipment. E. Civil of supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. 1. Internal control. 2. Supervision from outside, external control. 3. Preventive monitoring. 4. Repressive surveillance. If stack of supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. 1. Set standards, physical form, product quality and time. 2. Conduct assessment, complete result with star result are now from report or appoint supervisor. 3. Carry out required analysis the causes of different in result and standard, including factor of production and versatility. G. Principle of supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. 1. Supervision is guided by applicable policy. 2. Supervision is not the main goal. 3. Organization principles. 4. Needs adjustment principle. 5. The principle of fact finding. 6. The principle of revision. 7. Control principle. 8. Supervision activities must be able to avoid acquittal on operational, technique, administrative technique, and problem-solving assistance for the smooth implementation of tasks. Further, for supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. 1. Observation. 2. Giving example. 3. Recording reporting. 4. Limitation of authority. 5. Determine the rules of procedure order. Next. Refer on supervision and assessment of ratio of supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. Refer on the ratio of supervision of school facilities and infrastructure are very necessary, considering that supervision activities are observing the entire series of management of facilities and infrastructure. So the result of the observation and assessment can be written in the form of a report. The monitoring report can be useful for furniture planning. C. Follow-up report on supervision of educational facilities and infrastructure. The follow-up to the report on the result of the supervision of facility and infrastructure is an activity to determine whether relating to facilities and infrastructure through consideration and the overall result of the supervision report. Okay, elimination. Elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure. A definition of elimination of educational facilities infrastructure. Elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure is an activity process that aim to remove or eliminate educational facility and infrastructure from the inventory list because this facility and infrastructure are considered not functioning and especially for the benefit of implementing learning in school. B. Purpose of eliminating educational facilities and infrastructure. According to the regulation of the Minister of National Education number 24 of 27, state that the abolition of facilities and infrastructure is basically aimed at the following things. 1. Prevent or at least limit the loss or wasted or maintenance costs for facilities and infrastructure whose condition is getting more extensive or demand and can be longer be asked. 2. Easing the workload of inventory implementation. 3. Freeing the room the accumulation of items that are no longer longer ash. Freeing freeing good from work management responsibility. She recruitment for elimination of educational facility and infrastructure. According to Imran in Nurabadi, the post stated that there are several requirements that must be met to that item in school can be removed, namely as follow. 1. The goods are classified as having super heavy demand so that they are deemed unusual. 2. Unusual. 2. The goods to be removed are deemed no longer in accordance with the needs. 3. The goods in the school are considered old fashioned so that if they are used, they are no longer effective and efficient. 4. This good according to curtain rules are prohibited. 5. The good are experience depression with is beyond the control of the good manager. 6. The amount of the good exceed the capacity so that they are no longer urged. 7. Item whose utility is not balanced with the complexity of their maintenance. 8. Stolen item. 7. Misappropriate item. 10. Goods that are burned or destroyed due to natural disaster. Okay, next. Next. The procedure of elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure. The steps for removing educational equipment in school are as follows. 1. The principal can appoint someone group the equipment to be removed and put it in a safe place but still in the school. Okay. 2. Inventory the equipment to be removed by recording the type, quantity, and year of manufacture of the equipment. 3. The school principal submit a proposal for the removal of goods and the formation of elimination committee, which is accompanied by data on the match goal, which will be delayed to the City Oregon National Education Office. 4. After the deletion decree from the City Oregon National Educational Office is issued, the abolition community immediately takes charge remains having damaged goods, usually by making an inspection report. 5. After completing the inspection, the community provides that the removed of good usually requires an introduction from the school principal. The proposal was then forwarded to the head office in Jakarta. Six finally, as soon as the letter of the decision from Jakarta arrived, the goods can be delayed immediately. Bentar. Okay, the next. Elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure. A mechanism of elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure. According to Martin and Ford, in the implementation of the elimination of educational facilities and infrastructure, there are two mechanisms, namely, one, elimination of inventory items through auction. Two, elimination of inventory items through destruction. All right. This is my material, guys. So okay, so is this my material? Please give me a question in this my material.
Okay, Kak, I have a question for your presentation.
Okay, Rentik.
So, in the procedure for supervising educational facilities and infrastructure, in the section on limitation of authority, can you give an example of an activity that can be said to violate authority? So it is necessary to limit authority? Well, that's my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rentik. Give me time to answer your question. Okay. Who all right, friend. I will answer your question. Okay. The first question is the Rentik. Okay, the Rentik. Thanks to question previously, I may refer in fact the procedure of supervisory procedure for supervising educational facilities and infrastructure is designed to prevent deferred action, not ever coming, because the purpose of the supervisory procedure is not for the supervision so that it runs smoothly, freshly, effectively, and efficient. Well, once of the procedure is the limitation of authority. Limitation of authority itself is meant to keep an agency or individuals from doing things that exceed their authority so that defi- deficient or deficient can be avoided. Maybe one example that I can give is regarding the limitation of authority, such as the limitation of school resident to some of the existing infrastructure facilities at school outside of schoolhouse. For example, limiting the authority to us in focus other than during study hours because it is feared that it will minimize its lifespan, fear of being damaged quickly. Okay, what about the answer? Is that enough, Rentik?
Alright, Kak. It's enough and very clear for me. Thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you, Rentik. Um, okay, well, that the next question is from Muklis. Uh, okay, from the question, I previously explain the nature of maintenance of educational facility and infrastructure. Right? Maintain is an activity to carry out management and arrangement so that all goods are always in good condition and uh, ready to be as efficiently and effectively. Maintain is an activity to acquire or prevent damage to an item so that the item is in good condition and ready for us. Maintain include a continuous effort to keep the equipment in good condition. Maintain start from the as of good, namely by being careful in using them, especially maintain must be carried out by officials who have expertise in accordance with the type of good in question. Alright, Muklis, what about the answer? Is that enough? Oh, Muklis.
I think Mufis have a bad signal. Perhaps he out of the Zoom,
Okay,
but it's okay.
yes, I think it's no problem. Uh, oh, friend. Hello, friend. Any question?
For me, I have no question.
All right. All right, friend. I think that's all for me. Thank you for your kind attention. See you and have a good day. See you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Kak.
Okay, thank you. See you.